Welcome. Welcome, Wapham crew, guys, gals, ghouls, friends, fiends, foes, and otherworldly beings. Let's climb aboard the mothership, secure our tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. I'm your ghostess with the mostest, TessaTNT, and I am broadcasting live from the Mile High Clubhouse tonight. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. And thanks so much for joining me tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. It is an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege to be able to be here and have story time or trippy TikToks or Psychic Sunday or Psychic Saturdays, if so be. It's awesome. I just really enjoy doing it and bringing that to you. If you want to listen in your free time, whether you're working it or working out, you can listen to me on Spreaker.com or wherever else you listen to your broadcasts and podcasts under We Are Paradox Media. Alrighty. I hope you guys had an awesome week. An amazing beginning to your weekend. Had a pretty good day. I slept in a little bit and then got up and had to go pick up my son from a birthday party, and then we went and chased chickens. We had to chase them and put them in the chicken coop that I built for them because they keep roosting in the tree, and so they're little cloaclias or whatever they call them on the top of their heads. Like one of them on Brandy, hers looks like frostbitten or something. I feel bad for her, so yeah, we had a good time for about, I would say 30 minutes chasing chickens and putting them one by one into the chicken coop. Thanks, son, for helping me with that. But yeah, that was the excitement of my day. Hopefully you had a little excitement too. Alright, so we have been reading Mr. Stephen King's book, You Like It Darker, Stories. We are on chapter 46. Let me just double check my sound really quick. Sorry, guys. Alright. Looks good to me. I hope it's good for you. Alright. 46. Danny doesn't know what his next stop will be. Maybe Denver, maybe Longmont, maybe Arvada, but after nearly 3 years in Oak Grove, his 2 small suitcases won't be enough for the belongings he means to take. He decides to go to Manitou Fine Liquors and see if he can get some empty boxes for his clothes. They might not know his face there because, even in his drinking days, he stuck mostly to beer. He opens his trailer door shortly after noon and stops on the top step. Darla Jean Richardson has set up her dollhouse on the asphalt in the shade of the Oak Grove office building. It's a one damn near a mansion. Carrying it from her trailer must have been a chore. Becky ordered it from Amazon for DJ's 7th birthday, then threw up her hands in despair when she realized it had to be assembled. Danny put it together with DJ handing him the various components, both of them singing along with radio. That was a good day. She's 9 now, and he hasn't seen Marigold's dream house for almost a year. He supposes that she plays with it in her bedroom or has outgrown it, but if she lugged it all the way out here from her trailer, it can only have been for one reason. Hey DJ, what do you say? That's always been good for a smile, but not today. She gives him a solemn look. She's gone if that's why you were staying inside. Danny doesn't have to ask who DJ is talking about. Ella Davis was in the park earlier, knocking on doors and talking to anyone who was home. He expected her to make a visit to his trailer, but she never did. Just took off her COVID mask and left. Where's your mom? She had to take Mariel's shift at the diner. Mariel's got impetigo, DJ says the word very carefully, syllable by syllable. He said I could stay on my own and she'd bring me back a slice of cake. I don't want cake. I don't care if I ever have cake again. She told me I couldn't knock on your door, so I came here, so I'd see you when you came out. Danny goes down the steps, walks half the distance to DJ, then stops. The dollhouse is open on its hinges, and he can see Barbie and Ken inside, sitting at a kitchen table. Barbie sits with her legs stuck awkwardly out because her knees don't bend very well. There was a time when DJ and Danny discussed this and other unrealistic attributes of various dolls, plastic skin, creepy hair, at some length. Why are you just standing there? DJ asks. Because he can feel eyes, of course. The accused killer and the defenseless little girl. Most people are at work, but some are at home. The ones Inspector Davis talked to, and they will be watching. Maybe he shouldn't care, but he does. Before he can think of a reply, she says, Ma asked if you ever molested me. I know what that means. It means stranger danger, and I said, Danny would never molest me because he's my friend. Darla Jean starts to cry. DJ Jesus, don't. You didn't kill that girl, did you? Not a question. Fuck the Watchers. He goes to where she's sitting and squats down beside her. No, they think I did because I had a dream of where she was buried, but I didn't kill her. DJ swipes an arm across her eyes. Ma says I can't come over to your trailer anymore and you can't pick me up at school anymore. She says they'll either arrest you or you'll go away. Are they going to arrest you? They can because I didn't do anything wrong. So yeah, that's a no. Are you going away? I have to. I don't have a job and most people don't want me here anymore. I want you? What if Ma decides she wants Bobby for a boyfriend again? He can't fix the car if it busts. I hate him. He sent me to my room once without my supper and Ma didn't stop him. She begins to sob and double fuck the Watchers. Danny puts an arm around her and pulls her to him. Her face against his shirt is hot and wet, but okay. More than okay. She won't have Bobby back, he says. She knows better. She has no idea if this is true, but hopes it is. He's never met his predecessor. For all Danny knows, he could be a skinny, bespectacled accountant who gets a kick out of sending little girls to their rooms. But he imagines a big Hulk with a crew cut and lots of tattoos. Someone a little girl could really be scared of. Take me with you, DJ says against his shirt. Danny laughs and gives her dark blonde hair a scruff. Then they'd arrest me for sure. She looks up at him and gives him a tentative smile. That's when Althea Dumfries comes out of her trailer. Let loose of that child, he shouts. Let loose of that child this minute or I'm calling the police. DJ shoots to her feet, tears still streaming down her face. Yourself, oh fuck yourself, you fat bitch. Ooh, Danny's horrified but also admiring. And even though he's sure Darla Jean just bought herself a whole boatload of trouble, he can't help thinking that he couldn't have said it any better himself. "47. Ella Davis didn't think they made burgs like Cathcart anymore, even in dead red central Kansas. It's a dusty one-stoplight town about 40 miles north of Manitou. There's a quick shop across from the Rusty Water Tower. Welcome to Cathcart, where all lives matter, is printed on the side. Davis buys herself an RC and grabs a Plains Truth from the rack by the cash register. Danny Coughlin has made the front page, sandwiched between an ad for Royal Tires and one for the Discount Furniture Warehouse, where every day is a sell day. The headline reads, "Suspect claims it was all a dream." Davis cranks up the AC in her car and reads the story before heading down Main Street. It's Peter Anderson's byline. Accepting local sports, Anderson seems to write all the Plains truth stories. And Davis doesn't think the New York Times will be calling him anytime soon. If Anderson's intent was irony, he fell far short, achieving only a kind of lumbering skepticism. Perversely, it makes her want to believe Danny's version. She tosses the miserable excuse for a newspaper behind her. Plains Truth is on the street-level floor of a white-frame building halfway down Main Street. It's squeezed between a Dollar Tree and a long-defunct Western Auto. It needs paint, the boards are loose, the nails bleeding streaks of red rust. The door is locked. She cups her hands to peer through the window and sees one large, cluttered room with an old desktop computer presiding over it like an ancient god. The chair in front of the computer looks new, but the rest of the furniture looks like it was picked up either at a yard sale or on a dump picking safari. A long bulletin board is drifted deep with an ad mock-up and old copy, some of it yellowed and curling with age. "Hello, hello, hello, are you Davis?" She turns to behold a very tall young man, perhaps 6, 7, or 8. He's as skinny as a playing card. He's also strikingly pale at a time of year when most Kansans have at least a touch of tan. A Hitlerian forelock of black hair hangs over one eye. He brushes it back and it flops back down. "I am," she says. Hold on. I'll unlock." He does so, and they step in. She smells air freshener, and beneath it, a ghost aroma of pot. "I was down street to see Ma. She's got the diabetes. Lost a foot last year. Would you like a cold drink? I think there's some in the..." She holds out her bottle of RC. "Oh, right. Okay, great. As for snacks, I'm afraid the cupboard is bare." He laughs, titters actually, and brushes away the forelock. It promptly falls back. "I'm sorry it's so warm in here. The air conditioning's on the fritz. Always something, isn't it? We roll the rock. Sisyphus and all that." Davis has no idea what he's talking about, but she realizes he's scared to death. Good. "I didn't come here for snacks." "No, of course not. Coughlin, the story about Coughlin." 2 stories, it turns out. 2, yes, right, okay. As I said on the phone, I thought I was getting information from someone on the inside of the investigation. A policeman. In fact, he said that KHP, he said. Not KBI, the Kansas Bureau of No. He was from the Highway Patrol, I'm sure, totally sure, positive. The forelock flops. Anderson brushes it back. "He also gave you the information about the dream?" "Yes, sure did." "Absolutely. Even suggested I withhold that for my next issue. He said I'd still be scooping the regular newspapers. I thought that was a very good idea. Do you usually take advice from anonymous tipsters, Mr. Anderson?" He gives the unsettling titter. Davis could more easily envision this man killing Yvonne than Coughlin. In a TV show, he would turn out to be a serial killer with some strange alias like The Reporter. "I rarely get tips, Miss Davis. We're basically an ad-based inspector, Davis," she corrects. Not because she's in love with her title, but because she wants him to remember who has the hammer here. asking again. Did I print anything that wasn't true, Inspector Davis? I'm not at liberty to say, and it's not the point, although what you did was so irresponsible that I'd have trouble believing it if I hadn't read it myself. Now that's a little. I don't suppose you have a recording of this mystery call, do you? She doesn't hold out much hope of that. He gives her a wide-eyed look and another unsettling titter. I record everything. She thinks she must have misheard. Everything? Really? Every phone in? I have to. This is a shoestring operation, Miss Inspector. I also work part-time at the lumber yard outside of town. You must have passed it on your way in. Wolf Lumber? She can't remember if she did or not. She was thinking about Halbert. She gestures for Anderson to go on. While I'm out in the yard or seeing to Ma, he takes a lot of seeing to. Every call I get, most of them are about ads, but some are from Herd Conway. He does the sports. Are recorded and zipped directly up to the cloud. You don't erase them? He titters. Why would I bother? Plenty of room on the cloud, many mansions, as the good book says. My soul hath elbow room. Shakespeare. Our setup might not work for a big city newspaper, but it's fine for us. Here, I'll show you. Anderson wakes up his computer and types in a password. Davis is far from a compulsive neatnik, but the desktop screen is so littered with icons that looking at it makes her eyes hurt. Anderson mouses to the phone icon and pushes it. The message blares from speakers on either side of the room. He winces and turns down the volume. You have reached Plains Truth, the voice of Central Kansas and the best buy for your ad dollar. We are a free newspaper and sports weekly, sometimes bi-weekly, that is given out free of charge in over 6,000 locations in 6 counties. If that's true, I'll eat my shorts, Ella thinks. If you have news, press 5. If you have a sports score, press 4. If you want to report an accident, press 3. If you want to place an ad, press 2. If you have a question about rates, push 1. That's 5 for news, 4 for sports, 3 for an accident, 2 to place an ad, 1 for rates. And don't worry about getting cut off. There's the titter she's coming to know all too well. This is Plains Truth, where the truth matters. Anderson turns to her. It's good, don't you think? All the bells and whistles, bases covered. Under other circumstances, Davis, curious by nature, might ask Anderson how much ad revenue Plains Truth generates, but not under these. Can you find that anonymous call? Yeah, sure. Tell me the date I'm searching for. She doesn't know. Try between June 30th and July 4th? Anderson brings up a file. That's a lot of incoming, but maybe, he frowns, the forelock flukes. Some guy called in about a chimney fire. I think it was after that, pretty sure. Anderson clicks, listens, shakes his head, clicks some more. At least he gets a drawly farmer type who says he's seen a chimney fire out on Farm Road 17. Anderson gives Davis a thumbs up and goes to the next message. She has drawn up a chair next to him. It sounds funny because, shh. Anderson draws a finger across his lips, zipping them shut. It does sound funny because the caller was using a voice-altering device, maybe a vocoder. It sounds like a man, then a woman, then a man again. Hello, Plains Truth. I'm with the Kansas Highway Patrol. I'm not investigating the Von Wicker murder, but I've seen the reports. Your readers might like to know the man who discovered the body is Daniel M. Coughlin. He's a janitor at the Wild High School. He lives in Oak Grove Trailer Park. I never printed the address, Anderson says. I thought that would be... Go back. Anderson flinches and does something with his mouse. Wilder High School. He gives and lives in the Oak Grove trailer park in the town of Manitou. You should print that right away. There's a pause. He is KBI's prime minister, prime suspect, because he claims he had a dream of where the body was. The investigators don't believe him. You might want to save that for a follow-up. Just a suggestion. There's another pause. Then the vocoder voice says, 15. Goodbye. There's a click followed by someone who wants Plains Truth to know the July 4th festivities in Wilder County have been postponed until the 8th. Very sorry. Anderson kills the sound and looks at Davis. Are you okay, ma'am? Yes, he says. She's not. She's sick to her stomach. Play it again. She takes out her phone and hits record. Back in her car with the air conditioning on high, Davis listens to it again. Then she turns off her phone and stares through the windshield, Cathcart's dusty Main Street. She's thinking of an arson case she worked with Halbert in the spring. It was in a rural town called Lindsborg. On their way to the site, they passed a field where a few cows were grazing. Fella riding shotgun that day counted them aloud, just for something to do. 7, he said. 28, Howard replied with no pause. She gave him a questioning look, and he told her 1 to 7 added up to 28. He said, adding inclusively past the time and also kept him mentally sharp. He thought her partner might have a little touch of OCD. She'd even looked up the name of that particular compulsion on her phone, then dismissed it. Everyone had their little tics, didn't they? She herself couldn't go to sleep until all the dishes were washed and put away. But she had never considered counting them. Now, sitting in her car, she thinks of Peter Anderson's outgoing message. 5 choices, and when you added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the total was 15, she says. It was him. Fuck. She sits a while longer, trying to convince herself that she's wrong. She can't do it. Absolutely can't. So she calls Troop C of the Kansas Highway Patrol, identifies herself, and asks for a callback from Trooper Calton as soon as possible. While she waits for the callback, which she dreads, she asks herself what she's going to do with what she now knows. $49. Danny gets all the empty boxes he wants at Manitou Fine Liquors. He also gets a 5th of Jim Beam. At 4 o'clock that afternoon, the boxes are piled up in his room and the bottle of Beam is on the kitchen table. He sits there looking at it with his hands folded in front of him. He's trying to think of the last time he drank whiskey, not on the night he got arrested for standing on Margie's lawn and shouting at her house. That night he'd been beered up. He downed almost a case of Coors between Manitou and Wichita. He could still remember vomiting it up into the stainless steel toilet of the cell they had put him in, then going to sleep not on the bunk but underneath it, as if sleeping on concrete was some kind of penance. He decides that the last time he got into the high-tension stuff was fishing with Deck Mathers. The 2 of them were so loaded, they didn't find their way out of Route 327 until it was almost dark. By then, both of them badly hungover and promising never again, never again. He didn't know how that had worked out with Deck. Danny had lost touch with him since moving to Oak Grove, but he hadn't touched brown liquor since. Not any beer for at least a couple of years either. Jim Beam won't solve his problems, he knows that. They'll still be there when he gets up on Tuesday morning. only with a hangover to add to his misery. But what it would do is to blot out DJ's sad face, at least for a while. She said, "What if Ma decides she wants Bobby for a boyfriend again?" She said, "He can't fix the car if it busts." She said, and somehow this was the worst of all, God knew why, "I don't want cake. I don't care if I ever have cake again." That dream, he says, that fucking goddamn dream. Only the dream isn't really the problem. Halbert is the problem. Halbert has sprayed his goddamn life with his version of Agent Orange. He's trying to poison everything, including a little girl who thought her life was pretty much okie dokie. Her mom finally had a boyfriend, Darla Jean liked, who didn't shout and send her from the table without her supper. Halbert. All Halbert. Danny unscrews the cap, tips the bottle forward toward himself, takes a good long sniff. Chewy! He remembers how he and Deck Mathers laughed there on the riverbank, everything fine. Then he remembers how they cursed as they shoved through the final blackberry tangle to the road, getting all scratched up and sweating into those scratches, making the sting even worse. Albert would love you to get drunk, he thinks. Get drunk and do something stupid. He goes into the bathroom, pours the whiskey into the toilet, and flushes it away. Then he starts packing his clothes into boxes. He can't beat Halbert except by leaving, so that's what he's going to do. He'll get to spend time with Stevie. Who knows where everything is in the Table Mesa King Supers? As for Darla Jean, she'll have to find her way. In the end, most kids do. So he tells himself. 50. I'm not angry, Halbert thinks as he drives back to his hotel in Lyons. Just upset. The meeting in Wichita didn't go well. He argued for taking Coughlin in. 48 hours, he said. We can call it protective custody. Just let me sweat him. I'll break him down. He's ready. I know it. Protective custody from who? That was Tishman, the director in charge. Neville, the assistant director, sat next to him, nodding like a puppet. The killer? Coughlin doesn't claim to know him. He only claims to know where the body was because of the dream he had. Halbert asked those in attendance, including Ramsey, the stolid, closed-mouthed detective from Oklahoma, if any of them believed Coughlin's dream story. The unanimous belief was that no one did. Coughlin was the killer, but with no confession and no physical evidence tying him to the crime, and so on. Halbert needs to do some counting. That would settle him. With a clear head, he'll be able to decide on his next move. When he gets back to the hotel, he'll run the chairs, take a shower, and call Ella. Maybe she's picked up a lead at the trailer park, or possibly Coughlin has given something away, but probably not. He's a sly one. Got rid of the drugs, didn't he? But he's paying a price. He's out of a job and his neighbors have turned against him. He's got to be angry, and angry people make mistakes. But I'm not angry, just upset. And why? Because he did it, and he'll do it again? Don't they see that? He asks and bangs on the steering wheel. Are they really that blind? Answer, they're not. Every video feed between Arkansas City, where Miss Yvonne spent her last night, and the Gas and Go, where she was last seen, has been checked. Several Tundras were spotted, but none were white, and all were newer than Danny's. He used a different vehicle when he took her, Halbert thinks. That's why we didn't find any DNA or other evidence in his truck. Clever. So clever. Halbert began. Ella did too, by believing that Danny wanted either to be a media star or to confess. Ella may still believe those things, but Halbert no longer does. It's a game to him. He's sticking it in our faces and saying, prove it, arrest me, haha. You can't, can you? You know my story is bullshit, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Albert bangs the steering wheel again. 15 years ago, even 10, it was a different playing field with different rules. Coughlin would have been in a little room with Halbert and Davis, and they'd sweat him until he gave it up. 10 hours, 12, it wouldn't matter. Turn and turn about. Wop, wop, wop. They were advocates for poor Miss Yvonne and all the girls that might follow her. They'd go at him tirelessly in a room with no clock. You have to be hungry. Give us something and we'll send someone out for chow. You like Burger King? There's one right up the street. Whopper, fries, chocolate shake. How does that sound? At least tell us when you buried her, day or night. No? Okay, let's start again, from the beginning. Like that. Albert begins counting barns and silos and farmhouses to pass the time. He's up to 23, which added in arithmetical regression totals 276. When his phone rings, it's Ella. He expects her to ask how it went in Wichita, but she doesn't. Instead, she asks when he expects to get back to his hotel. Her voice is clipped and tight. She hardly sounds like herself. Could it be excitement because she has something? Just a thread, that's all I ask. We'll follow it. We'll follow it all the way through hell if that's what it takes. I should be there in 40 minutes. What have you got? I'm on the road from Manitou now. I'll meet you there. Come on, give. He runs his hand through the peninsula of his hair. Did Coughlin tell you something? Not on the phone. Make that half an hour, Albert says, and speeds up. 51. Ella is waiting in the lobby when Frank comes in. She dreads the impeding conversation, but will do what has to be done. It would be worse if she liked Frank. She tried to do that and failed, but until the last couple of days, she respected him. In a way, she respects him still. He is fiercely dedicated to the job, to getting justice for the woman he calls poor Miss Yvonne. It's just that his dedication has crossed a line, and when it did, it turned into something else. He gives her a smile, showing those eroded teeth that really need caps. The thick triangle of his widow's peak is disarranged, and if he's been running a hand through it, perhaps pulling at it. Let's go to my so-called suite. It's not great. The only view is of the parking lot, but it fits the expense account. Ella follows. She doesn't know why he's formed such a fierce connection with the Wicker Girl, or is it Coughlin he's made a connection with? But she knows it's put pressure on some fundamental crack in his personality. What was once a hairline is now a fissure. He unlocks the door. She goes in ahead of him and stops, looking around the suite's boxy little living room. What's up with the folding chairs? Nothing, nothing. He goes to the two in the living room and clacks them shut. He goes into the bedroom and comes back with two more. He leans them against the wall beside the TV. I have to take those back to the business center. Been meaning to. Want a soft drink? There's plenty in the minibar. No, thank you. Is it Coughlin? Did he let something slip? I didn't talk to him. Halbert frowns. I specifically asked you to re-interview him, Ella. Then the frown lightens. Was it Becky, the girlfriend, or the daughter? Did she... Listen, Frank. There's no easy way to say this. You have to step away from the case. That's for starters. He's giving her a quizzical little smile. He has no idea what she's talking about. Then it's time for you to retire. You've got your 20 years, 20 and more. And get some professional help. The little smile is still there. You're talking nonsense, Ella. I'm not going to retire. Not even thinking about it. What we're going to do, is collar Danny Coughlin and put him behind bars for the rest of his life. She's surprised by fury, but later she'll think it was there all along. What you're doing is risking any chance we have of making a case against him. You outed him, the plain truth, Frank. Smile is fading. What gave you that crazy idea? It's not crazy, it's a fact. You outed him, and you outed yourself with your counting thing. At the end of the message you left, you said 15. It had nothing to do with anything, except when you add the number of choices on the menu together, 1 to 5, you get 15. Now the smile is gone. On the basis of one number, you jump to the conclusion that sometimes a random number pops out of your mouth. Half the time, you don't even know you're doing it. That's what happened on the recording Peter Anderson played for me. I heard it. You can hear it too, if you want to. I've got it on my phone. His lips part in a grin, showing those eroded teeth. He grinds them, she thinks. Of course he does. I wouldn't want to report you for these false accusations, Ella. You've had a good partner. Couldn't ask for a better one, but if you persist, I'll have to. There's no way you could have recognized the voice that made that call, that anybody could recognize it because it was disguised by some gadget. Yes, it was, but how do you know that? He blinks and there's the briefest of hesitations. Then he says, because I asked him. Anderson, I interviewed him. Not at any time I was with you. No, from here, on the phone. Will he confirm that? I'm confirming it to you right now. Nevertheless, I'll ask him if I have to, and we both know what he'll say, don't we? Albert doesn't reply. He's looking at her as if she were a stranger, and probably right now, that's just how he feels. He points to the chairs. Do you count those? Or maybe set them up and count the steps between them? I think you better leave. I see your lips moving sometimes when you're counting. There's even a name for it. Arithmomania. Get out. Think about what you're saying, and we'll talk when you're not all wound up. Davis is suddenly too tired to stand. Who knew how exhausting confrontations of this sort could be? She sits and put her open purse on the little desk. Her phone is inside recording. You also planted drugs in Coughlin's truck at the high school. He recoils as if she had struck him with her fist. That's an outrageous accusation. It was outrageous that you did it. Coughlin got suspicious when the kid who works with him saw you park in back instead of in the faculty lot. Coughlin searched his truck, found the dope, and turned it over to me. What? When? I met him at the coffee shop in Great Bend after the meeting where he challenged us to arrest him, which we could not do then and can't do now. So I'm sure you found out in Wichita. He's a liar, and you went behind my back. Thanks, partner. She flushes. She can't help it. Albert is running his hands through his thick mat of receding hair. If there were drugs in his truck, he planted them himself. He's sly, oh boy, is he ever. And you actually believed his story? Albert shakes his head. His tone is pitying, but what she sees in his eyes is bare, unvarnished fury. Be careful of this man, she thinks. Danny was right about that. I had no idea you were so credulous, Ella. Has he convinced you of his dream story too? Are you on his side now? I've spoken to Trooper Calton. That stops him. Coughlin saw his name tag. I called Calton and told him I knew who set up the plant and the search. I said I'd keep his participation quiet if he told me what his lore and role was, and he did. Albert goes to the window, looks out, then comes back to her. I didn't want him for the dope. I wanted him for Miss Yvonne. I wanted him locked up so I could turn the screws. Where's the dope now? In a safe place. That last question is a tiny bit frightening. He doesn't really believe Frank would hurt her, but he's not right. There's no question of that. He goes to the window again and comes back again. His lips are moving. He's counting. Does he even know he's doing it? She doesn't think so. He killed her, raped her, and killed her. Coughlin, you know he did. She thinks of Coughlin asking her about her cross. Did she wear it just for show, or was she a believer? Then he asked her if she could believe in God, but not his dream. Frank, listen carefully. In this context, it no longer matters whether he killed her or not. Here in this room, all that matters is that you're telling me you're going to write an email to Don Fishman saying you need to take a leave of absence for personal reasons, and you're planning to retire. Never. He's clenching and unclenching his fists. Either that, or I go to the Tishman and tell him what you've done. The call to Anderson might not get you fired, but the dope thing certainly will. More, it will muddy up any case we might be able to make against Danny Coughlin so completely that even that small-town lawyer Ball could get him off. You do that? You did it, Davis cries, standing up. You screwed the case. You screwed yourself. You screwed me as well. Look at the mess you made. We can't let him get away, Halbert says. He's looking around the room, eyes not settling anywhere. He did it. If you believe that, don't fuck up any chance we have of nailing him. I'm leaving now. It's a big decision, I know. Sleep on it. Sleep? He says and laughs. Sleep. I'll call you tomorrow morning. See how you feel. But the choice is pretty clear. It seems to me, step down, and we still have a chance of making a case against Coughlin. There'll be no nasty mess about planting evidence, and you get to keep your pension. Do you think I care about my pension? He shouts. Cords stand out in his neck. Ella keeps her eyes locked on his. She's afraid to take them away. You might not care about it now in the heat of the moment, but you will later. And I know you still care about Yvonne Wicker. Think carefully, Frank. I'll let this slide if you step away. But it all comes out if you don't, and oy vey, the stench. She walks to the door. It's one of the longest walks of her life because she keeps expecting him to come after her. He doesn't. In the hallway with the door closed, she lets out a breath she didn't know she was holding. She starts to zip her purse closed when from behind her comes a crash. Something just broke. Does she want to know what? She doesn't. Ella walks slowly and steadily down the hall. In her car, she lowers her head and cries. There was a moment there, just a moment, when she really thought he might kill her. Franklin Halbert has stayed in hundreds of motel rooms during his career as an investigator, crisscrossing Kansas from north to south and east to west. Almost all of those rooms come with plastic glasses and little baggies, mostly printed with slogans like "Sanitize for your safety." Glasses on top of the minibar of his little suite in the Celebration Center just happen to be real glass. He registers the weight of the ones he's picked up before. It's too late to stop, and he probably wouldn't have stopped anyway. He hurls it against the door Davis has just left, and it shatters. Better the glass than her, he thinks. Not that I would ever hurt her. Of course not. She may be a traitor, but they put in some good time together. Caught some bad boys and bad girls. He taught Ella, and she was eager to learn. Only she hasn't learned enough, it seems. He doesn't understand how dangerous Coughlin is. He wonders if perhaps after their traitorous meeting at the coffee shop, They might have gone somewhere else, maybe to a motel. No, she'd never, not with the prime suspect in a murder case. Never? Really? Never? Coughlin's not a bad-looking man, and he has a wide-eyed, I'm telling the truth look about him. Some might find that appealing. Is it really beyond the realm of possibility that she and he may be kind of a weird twist on the Stockholm Syndrome? In spite of her backstabbing, he can't believe it. Of her, and never mind Ella. She's out of the picture. The question is what he's going to do about Coughlin. The answer seems to be nothing. She's put him in a box. That damned, spineless trooper had to spill his guts, didn't he? The idea of retiring, as she suggested, is awful. Like being marched towards the edge of a cliff. He can't imagine stepping off into the void. He has no hobbies except for the daily newspaper crossword and the occasional jigsaw puzzle. His vacations have consisted of aimless wanderings in a rented camper, seeing sights he doesn't care about and snapping pictures he rarely looks at later. Each hour feels 3 hours long. Retirement would multiply those long hours by 1,000, then 2,000, then 10,000. Each hour haunted by thoughts of Danny Coughlin looking at him across the table with the wide-eyed wouldn't-hurt-a-fly gaze, saying, "Arrest me. You can't, can you?" Thoughts of Danny Coughlin stopping in some other state for another young girl with her thumb out and a pack on her back. And we can't. I do. What can I do? Well, he can do one thing, pick up the broken glass. He brings over a wastebasket, kneels down, and starts doing that. Pretty soon he's up to 57 shards. 1,653 when added in progression. I wouldn't have hurt her, absolutely not, but there was 1 second. Sharp pain needles the ball of his thumb. A bead of blood appears. Halbert realizes he's lost count. He debates starting again from 1. "53. Danny Coughlin's last week in Manitou, Kansas is both sad and a relief. On Tuesday, he finds a big pile of dog shit in his mailbox. He dons a pair of his rubber work gloves, removes it, and washes the inner surface clean. Someone will want to use that box after he's gone. On Wednesday, he goes to Food Town to pick up a few final supplies, including a steak he plans to eat on Friday night as a goodbye dinner. He's not in the market for long, but when he comes out, 2 back tires of his truck are flat. At least they're not punctured, he thinks, but probably just because whoever did it wasn't carrying a knife. He calls Jesse because Jesse's number is in his contacts and he can't think of anyone else who might give him a help. Jesse says his dad left a lot of stuff when he ran out on his family, and one of those things was a Hosball tire inflator. "Give me 20 minutes, he says. While Danny waits, he stands beside his truck and collects dirty looks. Jesse arrives in his beat-up Capri, and the Tundra's back tires are good to go in no time. Danny thanks him, alarmed to feel tears threatening. "No problem," Jesse says and holds out his hand. "Listen, man, I gotta say it again. I know you didn't kill that girl." "Thanks for that, too. How's the sawmill? I was driving by and saw you hauling lumber in a short box." Jess shrugs. "It's a paycheck. What's up with you, Danny? What's next?" "Getting out of town this weekend. I'm thinking Netherlands to start with. I'll camp out. I've got some gear and I'll look for a job and a place." Jess sighs. "Probably for the best. The way things are, shoot. Shoot me a text when you get someplace." He gives Danny a shy look. That's all 17. Stay in touch." "I'll do that," Danny says. "Don't cut off any fingers at that mill." Jesse flashes a grin. Got the same advice from my mom's. She says I'm the man of the house now. On Thursday, most of his stuff packed and ready to go, the trailer looking nude somehow, he gets a call from Edgar Ball while he's drinking his first cup of coffee. Ball says, I have bad news, good news, and really good news. At least I think it is. Which do you want first? Danny sets his cup down with a bang. Did they catch him? The guy who killed her? Not that good, I'm afraid, Ball says. The bad news is that it's not just Plains truth anymore. You're in the telescope, the Wichita Eagle, the Kansas City Star, and the Oklahoman. Along with your picture. Fuck, Danny says. Good news is the picture they're running has got to be 10 years old. You've got hair down to your shoulders and a biker stash. Looks like you're standing in front of a bar, but I might only think that because you're holding up a bottle of beer in each hand. Probably the Golden Rope in Kingman. Before I married Margie, I used to do a lot of drinking there. I think it burned down. Don't know about that, Ball says cheerfully. That photo doesn't look anything like you now. You ready for the best news? Lay it on me. It came from the friend who's clerk in Troop F of the Highway Patrol. That's in Ketchy near Wichita. I used to date the lady in question, but that was in another life. She probably knows you retained me. She called last night and said Frank Halbert is taking a leave of absence. Rumor is he's going to retire. Danny feels a big grin break over his face. It's the first real one since he woke up after that fucking dream. Halbert has haunted his thoughts. Not even talking to Stevie can get the inspector entirely out of his mind. He reminds Danny of some animal, maybe a wolverine, that supposedly won't unclamp its jaws from whatever it's bitten, even after it's dead. That is really good news. Want to go out to Dabney's to celebrate? Big breakfast, I'm buying. Dabney's is 2 towns over and should be safe enough, especially if the picture in the newspaper they are running is from the days when Danny wanted to look like Lonesome Dave Everett from Foghat. Sounds good. I might bring a friend, the kid I used to work with. But Jesse says he can't as much as he'd like to. He punches in at 8. Also, my mom was pretty mad that I went out to help you yesterday. I told her you didn't do what they say you're doing, and she said it didn't matter because I was a young black man, and you were, a white man accused of murder, Danny says. I get it. Well, yeah, but go anyway if I didn't have to work. I appreciate that, Jess, but your mom is probably right. He goes out to Dabney's. Ball is there. They order a huge breakfast and eat every bite. Danny offers to split the check, but Ball won't hear of it. He asks Danny what comes next for him. Danny tells him about his plan to go to Colorado to be near his brother, who's on the spectrum but has a gift. A psychologist who examined him in his late teens called global recognition. Basically, he sees where everything is. They talk about that for a while. Got something in mind? Ball says as they leave the restaurant. I've been thinking about it ever since our first go-around with that hairball Halbert, but then I got reading the comments in the Eagle and the Telescope, and I thought, yeah, maybe might work. I have no idea what you're talking about. What comments? I guess you don't remember them. It's the equivalent of letters to the editor in the old days. After you finish reading the story, you can comment on it. There are lots of comments on the stories about you. Hang 'em fast and hang 'em high, Danny says. There are some like that, sure, but you'd be surprised how many people believe you actually did dream where the body was. Everyone, those that believe you, has a story about how their grandma knew the propane was going to explode and got everyone out of the house, or that the plane was going to crash, so they took a later flight. Those are premonitory dreams, Danny says. He's done some reading. Not the same. Yes, but there are also comments from people who dream the location of the lost ring or lost dog or In one case, a missing kid. This woman claims she dreamed a neighbor boy fell down an old well. And there he was. It's not just you, Danny. And people love stuff like that because it gives them the idea that there's more to the world than we know. He pauses. Of course, there are also people that think you're so full of shit, you squeak. That makes Danny laugh. At Danny's truck, Ball says, okay, so here's what I'm thinking. It might be a way to get a little money, but that's really secondary. There would be a way to fight back. You're thinking what? Filing a lawsuit? Exactly, for harassment. Someone hucked a brick at your trailer, right? Right. Dog shit in your mailbox. Let the air out of your tires. Pretty thin, Danny says, and I thought cops were protected from that sort of thing. Halbert may retire, but he was a cop in good standing when he came after me. Oh, but he planted drugs on you, Ball says. And if we can get the cop who rousted you in court and under oath, can we go back to your trailer and talk about it? I mean, what else have you got to do? Not much, Danny admits. Sure, I guess we could talk about it. He drives back to Oak Grove with Ball behind him, on his Honda. Danny pulls up at his trailer and sees someone sitting on the concrete block steps, head down, hands dangling between his knees. Danny gets out of his truck, closes the door, and for a moment just stands there, struck by a déjà vu. Almost overwhelmed by it, his visitor is wearing a high school leather jacket. Where has he seen that before? Ball's Honda Goldwing pulls up behind his truck. The kid stands up and raises his head, then Danny knows. It's the kid from the newspaper photo, the one standing in front of the hearse and behind his grief-stricken parents. Bastard, you killed my sis, the kid says. He reaches into the right pocket of his leather jacket and brings out a revolver. Behind Danny, the Goldwing shuts off and Ball dismounts. That's in another universe. Whoa, son, I didn't. That's as far as he gets before the kid fires. A fist hits Danny in the midsection. He takes a step back, then the pain comes, like the worst acid indigestion he ever had. Pain goes up to his throat and down to his thighs. He gropes behind him for the door handle of his Tundra and can barely feel it when he finds it. His legs are getting loopy. He tells them not to buggle. Warmth is running down his stomach. His shirt and jeans are turning red. Hey! Ball shouts from the other universe. Hey, gun! No shit, Danny thinks. With his weight pull it, the driver's door of the Tundra swings open. Danny doesn't fall where he stands only because he opened his window on the way back from Dabney's. The morning air was so cool and fresh, that seems like another lifetime. He hooks his elbow through the window and around the doorpost and pivots like a stripper on a pole. The kid fires again and there's a plung sound as the bullet hits the door below the open window. Gun! Gun! Edgar Ball is shouting. The next bullet goes through the open window and buzzes past Danny's right ear. He sees the kid's cheeks are wet with tears. He sees Althea Dumfries standing on the top step of her trailer. Fanciest one in the park, Danny thinks. Crazy what goes through your head when you're shot. She appears to be holding a piece of toast with a bite out of it. Danny goes to his knees. The pain in his abdomen is excruciating. He hears another plung as another bullet strikes the Tundra's open door. Then he's all the way down. He can see the kid's feet. He's wearing Converse sneakers. Danny sees the gun when the kid drops it on the ground. Ball is still yelling. Ball is bawling, he thinks, and then the world slides into darkness. '54. Comes to on a stretcher. Edgar Ball is looking down at him, eyes wide. There's dirt smeared on his cheeks and forehead. He's saying something. It might be, hang in there, buddy, and then the stretcher bumps something and the pain explodes. The pain becomes the world. Danny tries to scream and can only moan. For a moment there's sky, then a roof above him, and he thinks it might be an ambulance How'd it get her so fast? How long was it out? Someone says, little pinch and then you'll feel better. There's a pinch and darkness follows. 55. When it goes away, he sees lights sliding by above him. It's like a shot in a movie. The loudspeaker calls for Dr. Broder. Dr. Broder, stat, it says. Danny tries to speak, tries to say, is it the good doctor, the one on TV? Just as a joke, he knows better, but all that comes out for a few muffled sounds because he's got some kind of mask over his mouth and nose. Doors bang open. There are brighter lights and green tile walls. He supposes it's an operating room and he wants to say he doesn't know if he can afford an operation because he lost his job. Hands hoist him and oh Jesus Savior, it hurts. There's a pinch and darkness follows. Alright, on that note, boys and girls, we are going to go to our first music break. On this break, we have Mr. Oh my goodness. King Cinnamon from, I want to say Biafra, Nigeria, with Fantastic and Ala Imo Adarella. And then we have Hosni Bronx, who hails from mainly Jamaica, but goes back and forth from there to the Bronx in New York, with Dance as a Lion. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break.
King Cinnamon, oh shit, baddest. Take your bam bam anywhere you day. Play your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Take your bam bam anywhere you day. Play your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Baby, gather something. Come on closer, baby, gather 19. I know you better, but I am the king. Your backside bigger than Bombay. Baby girl, brokotum. I like the way you want your brokotum. Baby girl, brokotum. I like the way you want your brokotum. Jamaica, Ghana, shout out to the ladies in Asia, Nigeria, South Africa. Say me love you. Turn up from you. Yeah. Take your bam bam anywhere you day. Play your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Take your bam bam anywhere you day. Play your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Love you, give me love, give me love. Oh, give me love, give me love. Hey, please me, baby. Yeah, turn up from you. Yeah, take your bam bam anywhere you day. Play your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Shake your bam bam anywhere you day. Play your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. King Cinnamon. You know what I'm saying? Kanyi kele Chineke makwa n'ala Imo bụ ndị njem ọnụ. Kanyi kele onye nwụwa ịmakwa n'ala Imo bụ ndị njem ọnụ. Imo, Alime Kerelo, Alimo, Alime Kerelo, Alimo State, Alime Kerelo, Alimo, Alime Kerelo, Alimo State, Alime Kerelo, Alimo, Alime Kerelo. Democracy Merielo, Ndime Merielo, Alimo, Alime Kerelo, Alimo, Alime Kerelo, Alimo State, Alime Kerelo, Alimo, Alime Kerelo. Democracy Merielo, Ndime Merielo, Alimo, Ebere Marama, Ovana Marama, Yes Lady Marama, Her Excellency, Emeka Hama, Emeka Hidio Hama, Omenka Unanya Nidio Hama, Omenka Unanya Wa, Emeka, Meki Modima, Emeka, Modimao, Emeka puta no boy. Oh yeah. Wa wulenu. Emeka puta no boy. Woko madima. We me mposo. Emeka Meki modimao. Emeka Meki modimao. Ndem jejembao. Mwan jejembao. Ndem jemano. Deputy Governor Imo State Chilike. Gerard Ronna Ikaraka, Wokoma Dima, Porabo, Deputy Governor, Willie Deregima, Alukuta Deregima, Alimo State Deregima, Ala Nigeria Maragima, Onye Jemonu, Stanley Wamuche Karaka, Stanley Onye Babamba, President Good Life Foundation, Shirike, President General, Senate Group of Companies, President General, Financial Matter Karaka, Alo Were Diregima, Alambise Diregima, Alimo State Diregima, Ala Nigeria Maragima, Ondo Jemono, Franklin Neji Shirike, Pepe Arabido Hotels, ABC Transport Karaka, Alo Were Diregima, Alambise Diregima, Alimo State Diregima, Ala Nigeria Maragima, Uchonya go chande, Honorable Wokoma Dima, Onye Horo Nyakeleni Yao, Mawugi, Ginando Tigio, Mawunule, Njigari Chinala, Imo State, yo, Mawugi, Ginando Tigio, Mawunule, Minigari Zonala, Imo State, yo, Alo Were Diregima, Alo Were Diregima, Alimo State Diregima, Ala Nigeria Maragima, the German, Warren Trucks Limited, Jisa Anthony Ifani Chukundu Business and Ishirike, Ikenga Chele, pride of his people, most outstanding one, Okoma Marama, Iborabo, Alo Were Diregima, Alijato Diregima, Alimo State Diregima, Ala Nigeria Maragima, Honorable Jogwagu Shirike, Honorable Bina Shirike, General Labosa Shirike, Otukwa Kereke Shirike, Okahube Shirike, Intina Benina Shirike, Onyamana Construction, Wokoma Dima Ikaraka, Onyo Shibore Heborani, Detemu Imarama, Wokoma Jemba, Wokoma Dima Ikaraka, Wiz Popule, Ibo Felamo, Onyamana Pito, Akana Kumpa, Ikaraka, Eziwa Mama, Mr. Ludiriwa, Wokome Jemba, CEO Elizabeth Ventures, Ikaraka, Democracy Merielo, Ndime Merielo. Democracy Merielo, Ndime Merielo, Alime Gerelo, Alime Gerelo. Thank God I'm from Imo State, and make Emeka has come to rejuvenate. Imo State, make you jubilate, make you celebrate. Emeka shipwen be say, this one no be say them say. Emeka has come to rejuvenate. Imo State, celebrate, make you jubilate. Ala mekele His Excellency Achikudenwa. Mekele kwa His Excellency Dr. Hakim. Yemaka Right Honorable BDK. Mekele kwa Right Honorable Jones Oyereri. Ala mekele Senator Onyebuchi Mr. Empowerment. Mekele kwa Right Honorable Emeka Chinedu. Umo mimo lowali bia meziena Alima de Lama.
Cliffito.
Welcome back, and thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. We have been reading Stephen King's book, what is it? Dark Stories? You Like It Dark? Hold on one second. How the hell? Yeah, You Like It Darker Stories. I got it all backwards, but yeah, it's been really, really good. I've been digging it. And it's not just one story, it's a bunch of little ones, so that's cool. But with the whole number thing coming up, like I think numerology and astrology and all this other stuff is really cool, but I don't have the slightest foggiest. Like, I know I'm a Sagittarius, I know that 3i Atlas is coming from the Sagittarius area. There was also a pulse that came from there around, I think, a month apart. But no, today... Okay, so it's 12, 13, 25, but 12 and 13 makes 25. So I'm like, 25, 25. I don't know why I thought of that, but then this guy goes into like him being a weird numbers person, kind of like OCD or something. Interesting. But as I digress, I think we should move forward. 56. Now he's in bed. Has to be a hospital bed. There's light, but not the cruel "we're going to cut you open" lights shining down in that green room. No, this is daylight. Margie, his ex, is sitting by his bed. She's all dolled up, and Danny knows that if she dressed up for him, he's probably going to die. His midsection is stiff as a plank. Badges, maybe, and there's an IV hanging on a hook, and he thinks, if they're putting stuff into me, maybe I'm not going to die. Margie asks, "How do you feel, Dano?" Like in the old days when they still got along, like, Dano. And he tries to answer but can't. Darkness. "57. He opens his eyes and Edgar Ball is sitting by his bed. No dirt on his face, so he must have cleaned up. How much time has passed? Danny has no idea. Close call, but you're going to pull through, Ball tells him, and Danny thinks, that's what they all say. On the other hand, maybe it's the truth. Good thing you got behind the truck door. If he'd been shooting a larger caliber gun, bullets would have gone right through, but it was a .32. Kid, he manages. Albert Wicker, Ball says. Yvonne Wicker's brother. I knew that, Danny tries to say. Fired 3 or 4 times, dropped the gun, walked right past me, went out to the street and sat down on the curb and waited for the cops. In a movie, I would have tackled him, but the truth is I face-planted beside my motorcycle at the first gunshot. I'm sorry. Okay, Danny says. Okay. Thanks for saying that. We've got a real sweet now, Danny. Soon as you get better. Danny tries to smile. He closes his eyes. Darkness. " 58. Is it Jesse next time, or a dream? They're giving him a lot of dope, so he can't be sure, but he's positive, almost positive, that he sees a dark brown hand over his white one. Time 59. Next time he surfaces, it's Ella Davis. He's a little stronger and she looks a little younger in faded jeans and boat-neck tee. Her hair is down and she is smiling. Danny, are you awake? Yes, the bear croaked. What is there? She holds a glass for him. There's a bendy straw sticking out of it, and he drinks, and it's heaven on his throat. Danny, we got him. The kid? His voice is a little stronger. I think Edgar told the cops. Not the kid, him, the man who killed Yvonne Wicker. Are you getting this? Do you understand what I'm telling you? Yes. Does he feel relieved? Vindicated? Can't tell. He's not even sure how badly he's hurt or if he'll ever be really well again. What if he has to spend the rest of his life shitting into a bag? He's confessed, Danny, confessed to Wicker and 2 others. Some cops in Illinois and Missouri are looking for the bodies. All right, Danny says. He's very tired. He wants her to go. I went to Mass and prayed for you. Helps if you believe, Danny says. He feels her take his hand, her skin cool on his. He thinks he should tell her. He doesn't blame her, but the very idea of blame seems pointless right now. He turns his head, floats away. Darkness. $60. By the 3rd day, he hurts bad, but he's back in the world. He understands he's at Regional Hospital in Grand Bend, and he's going to be here at least a week, maybe 10 days. The bullet perforated his stomach. He's been repaired and sewed up, but broader. The doctor in charge of his case says if he tries to walk, even to the bathroom, he's apt to open it up again. Be grateful it wasn't a soft-nosed slug in a bigger caliber. That would have done a lot of damage. You'll be on soft food for a while. Hope you like scrambled eggs and yogurt. Being in bed means the bedpan. But the indignity of that is mitigated by the fact that he's been spared the catheter and colostomy bag. He learns that Margie was allowed to see him early on because she claimed to be his wife, which wasn't true. Edgar Ball was allowed to see him because he claimed to be his lawyer, which was. Ella Davis was also allowed in because she was a KBI officer and because she said she had good news to share. Very good. And Jesse? That might have been a drug-induced hallucination, but Danny doesn't believe it. He thinks Jesse slipped in somehow and took his hand. At some point, he'll have to ask him. Stevie doesn't know, and that's good. It would upset him. Danny would have to tell him at some point, but that's for later. Late in the afternoon of his 4th day at the hospital, he's allowed to sit by the window in his room. 2 steps, supported by a pair of orderlies. While he's enjoying the feel of the sun on his face, Edgar Ball comes to see him again. He sits on the bed and asks Danny how he feels. Not good. The dope is primo. What do you want to know? Everything. That will strain in the powers of condensation. They're only giving me 20 minutes. Then they have to put you back to bed and irrigate you. Ball grimaces. I don't even want to know what that entails. Davis told me They caught the guy who killed Yvonne Wicker, but I passed out before she could give me any details. Start there. His name is Andrew Iverson. No fixed address, and itinerant Mr. Fix-It. He was heading west, driving a little blue panel truck with Andy I Plumbing and Heating on the side. It showed up on a video, both in Arkansas City, where Wicker last stayed, and at the Gas and Go, where she was last spotted. He's also on video in Great Bend, Manitou, and Cocker City. Cocker's close to Dark County, isn't it? Yes, Wicker does. Well, probably dead in the back of his truck when he drove through there. He was looking for a lonely spot to bury her, and found one. Iverson's picture should be in the encyclopedia next to the entry for serial killers. He drives, stopped for a while, does some business, cash only. He told the cops because he says cash don't tell. You got this from Davis? Yes, we had a long talk. She feels terrible about this whole business. She's not the only one, Danny thinks. Iverson killed a girl in Illinois and another in Missouri, buried them in rural locations. The cops have found one, they're still looking for the other. He picked up a fourth girl hitchhiking in Wyoming outside of a little town called Glenlock. He pulled over on some county road and tried to rape her. She had a knife in her boot. While he was getting his pants down, she stabbed him 4 times. Good for her, Danny says. He thinks of the dog that was chewing on Yvonne Wicker's arm. Goddamn good for her. Davis says this is one tough chick. She tumbled him out of the van, drove toward Casper until she had a cell signal and called the police. He wasn't where the girl said he was, but they followed the blood trail to a nearby barn. He was in a horse stall, passed out from blood loss. Davis says he's going to recover. He confessed? He told me he confessed unless I dreamed that part. You didn't. Wounds hurt. As I think you know, you got shot once. Iverson got stabbed 4 times, once in the cheek, once in the shoulder, once in the side, and once in the leg. He wanted painkillers. The cops wanted information. They both got what they wanted. Davis told you all that? Well, she did, and asked me to tell you. I think she's afraid to face you again. I get that, but I guess in the end, she did her job. She stood up to Halbert, if that's what you mean, but that's a story for another day. My 20 minutes are almost up. Do you remember the charm bracelet the Wicker girl was wearing? Danny remembers. He saw it twice, once in his dream and once in real life. Iverson had 2 of the charms in his little kill sack as trophies. There was more stuff in there from the other 2. Where's the kid that shot me? Albert Wicker is in Manitou Motel with his folks. He made bail, or rather his parents did. I know the lawyer who represented him at this arraignment. He says the Wickers mortgaged their house to come up with the money. Jenny thinks about that. Daughter dead, son facing attempted murder charges, parents probably facing bankruptcy, and I'm in the hospital with a hole in my stomach, Danny thinks. The wandering plumber did a lot of damage, and that's just the spreading circle of pain around the young woman Halbert insisted on calling poor Miss Yvonne. Danny wishes the girl who got away, the fabled last girl, had stabbed Iverson in the balls for good measure. I don't want to press charges, Danny says. Edgar Ball smiles. I'm surprised. I'm not. But it's not entirely up to you. Wicker will do some time, but considering the mitigating circumstances, it may not be much. The nurse pokes her head in the door. Sir, you need to let my good pal Danny rest. Plus, he needs some services you won't want to be around for. Irrigation, Danny says glumly. This doesn't happen when someone gets shot on TV. 5 more minutes, Bill says. Please. You can have 3, the nurse says and leaves. I had a meeting with Don Tishman, who was technically in charge of the KBI investigation. I laid out the facts of the matter concerning Halbert, but felt it would be smart to withhold the name of the trooper who stopped you and looked for drugs. For a small-town lawyer who specializes in real estate contracts, you've been pretty busy. Danny means it lightly, almost as a joke. The ball flushes and looks down at his hands. I should have tackled that kid. I could have. He was totally focused on you. Instead, I went face down in the dirt. Danny repeats that it's not like TV. Ball raises his head. Understood, but I don't have to like it. No man wants to think he's a coward, especially one that rides a badass bike. I wouldn't call a Honda Goldwing badass, Edgar. Harley Softail, that's badass. Be that as it may, we've reached an accommodation, I think. A few details still to be worked out, but yes, it looks good. In exchange for keeping quiet about Halbert, who was indeed put in his retirement papers, you're going to have your medical bills paid by Sunflower State with a certain sum left over. Not huge, but tidy. 5 fingers. It will get you relocated to Colorado if you still decide to go. The nurse doesn't just poke her head in this time. She points at Ball. Not asking, telling. Going, Ball says and gets up. You could have your job back, once you're well enough to do it. Good to know, Danny says. He has no intention of staying. Someone threw a brick at his trailer. Someone put shit in his mailbox. Bill Dumfries basically told him on behalf of the good people of Oak Grove to get out of Dodge. What weighs against those things is Darla Jean sitting in the dirt next to her dollhouse with tears rolling down her cheeks. But he doesn't think it weighs enough to tip the scales. He has a brother in Colorado, and if getting shot does nothing else, it gives you insight into how short the time is you have to spend with your loved ones. All because of one dream, he says bitterly. It didn't even help catch the guy. But think of the adventure you had. Danny shows him a middle finger. On that note, Paul says and takes his leave. 61. While Albert Wicker is spending his first afternoon in the Wilder County Jail, hardly aware of what he did, the last few days are a blur. That morning, hardly there at all, Franklin Halbert is sitting in his dining room in his bathrobe doing a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. When completed, it will show a collage of movie posters, classics like Casablanca, It's a Wonderful Life, Jaws, 24 in all. Halbert keeps track of how many pieces he's put in. After 10 pieces, he takes one step in place as if marching so he can sit down again. After 20, he takes 2, one out from his chair and one back. He's up to 800 pieces, almost done. When his phone rings, he looks at the screen and sees H. Allard. Hank Allard is a friend of his, a captain in the Kansas Highway Patrol. Albert is torn between answering and doing the next set of steps, which would be one of 80 inclusive. He decides on the steps, 3,240, quite a lot. He starts at 80 and counts in reverse. The steps take him outside to the small backyard of his ranchette and back again. He sees that previous trips have made a path in the grass, a rut in fact. He's aware that the step counting thing and running the chairs that too has gotten even more out of control since his failure to arrest Danny Coughlin. Davis called it arrhythmomania. While doing the steps associated with his jigsaw puzzle, Halbert often thinks he's like a hamster running on a wheel, going and going, shitting on the run, and never getting anywhere. But that's all right. What Davis couldn't realize is that this minor craziness keeps him from the greater craziness of contemplating a future from which his job has been subtracted. How many jigsaw puzzles can he do before facing the pointlessness of his life going forward, and slides his service weapon deep into his mouth? Boom, gone. God knows he wouldn't be the first. God knows he's thought about it. Is thinking. He comes back to the steps when he's down to 5. By the time he gets to 0, he's in the kitchen. Time for another 10 pieces, and then he'll count down from 81. Possibly first by odd numbers, then doing the even ones. After that, it will be time for lunch and a nap. He loves his naps. Such smooth oblivion. His phone is beside the mostly completed jigsaw puzzle. He's currently assembling the 10 Commandments, which he most definitely doesn't consider a classic. Hank Allard has left a voicemail and he sounds excited. Call me. I've got news you want to hear. Halbert can't imagine any news he wants to hear, but he returns the call. Allard answers on the first ring and wastes no time. Your boy Coughlin has been shot. What? Halbert stands up, giving the table a hard bump and sliding the nearly completed puzzle almost to the edge. Several pieces patter to the floor. Allard laughs. The Wicker girl's brother shot the motherfucker. You want to talk about justice? Whoop, there it is. Is he dead? We can hope. The first trooper to respond to this scene said there was a lot of blood and several bullet holes in the bastard's truck. They took him to regional in an ambulance instead of treating him at that little excuse for a hospital in Manitou, so it was bad. Maybe he died on the way. Halbert shakes a fist at the ceiling, thinking, closure, sweet closure. God did what I couldn't. His voice isn't quite steady. I wouldn't disagree, Allard says. Keep me informed. You know I'm out of the loop. Which is one more fucked up thing in a fucked up world, Allard says. You bet I will. The night Halbert goes out to Bullwinkle's and gets drunk for the first time in 20 years. He does not count steps, which is a relief. Counting steps and running chairs is hard work. So many numbers to keep track of, so easy to lose count. He supposes nobody would believe that, but it's the truth. If you lose count, you have to start over. While Halbert is drinking his second whiskey and soda, Allard calls again. Halbert has to shout because of the combined roar of the TV, the jukebox, and a bunch of unwinding KU summer students. Is he dead? No, serious condition, shot in the stomach. Halbert first feels disappointed, then happy. Isn't that better than life in prison, where Coughlin would get 3 meals a day, a TV in his cell, and time in the exercise yard? It hurts to get shot in the gut. The pain is excruciating, so Halbert has heard, and it's the sort of wound that Coughlin might not, depending on the caliber of the slug, ever come back from. Maybe that's good, he shouts. I get where you're coming from, buddy, Allard said, and from the sound of it, I get where you are. Have one for me. I'll have 2, Halbert says and laughs. It's the first real laugh to come out of him in a long time, and the hangover he wakes up with the next day feels entirely justified. He takes a long walk without counting his steps, simply hopping, hoping, almost praying that Coughlin will live, but get some sort of serious infection, possibly need to have his stomach removed. Was it possible to live if that happened? Would you have to be fed through a tube? If so, wouldn't that be an even greater punishment? Albert thinks yes. By noon, his hangover is gone. He eats a hearty lunch and doesn't even think about going into the dining room to work on his classic movie posters puzzle. He is contemplating the idea of sending Coughlin flowers with a card reading, "Don't get well soon." When his phone rings, it's his ex-partner. Frank, I have some fantastic news. Already know. Our boy Coughlin took one in the belly. He's in the hospital. They caught him. Albert shakes his head, not sure he's following her. Do you mean Yvonne Wicker's brother, or did you uncover some evidence about Coughlin? Did you? Is that it? He could hope. Gut shot and going to prison. How beautiful that would be. The man who killed her. They caught him in Iowa. His name is Andrew Iverson. Albert frowns. His headache is creeping back. I have no idea what you're talking about. Coughlin killed poor Miss Iverson was trying to take another one. She stabbed him and got away. Davis pours out the whole story, saving the best for last. 2 of the charms from Yvonne Wicker's bracelet in Iverson's kill bag. We hounded an innocent man for nothing, she finishes, but because we couldn't believe. Albert sits up straight. His headache is worse than ever. He will have to do something about it, pick some aspirin, then run the chairs. We didn't hound him, Ella. We pursued him. Given what we knew, he had every right, every duty. Stop with the we stuff, Frank. Now she just sounds weary. I didn't give his name to that free newspaper, and I didn't plant dope in his truck. You did those things on your own, and I didn't get him shot. You're not thinking clearly. That's you, not me. I told him I went to Mass and prayed for him, and do you know what he said? It helps if you believe. I'm going to keep that in mind going forward. Then you better quit the police force and get a job as a voodoo priestess or something. Do you not feel the slightest shred of guilt, Frank? No, I'm going to hang up now, Ella. Don't call me again. He ends the call, he runs the chairs, he puts 10 pieces in his jigsaw puzzle, then counts steps in his backyard. 81 down to 1, a total of 3,321. Good number, but his head still aches. "62. Danny's supper following Edgar Ball's visit is green gluck that looks like liquefied snot and tastes a little like V8, if that is V8 tasted nasty. He gets it all down anyway because for the first time since waking up in the hospital, he's actually hungry. In truth, for the first time since his trip to Gunnell in Dark County. Things have changed. He feels saved. At 9 o'clock, a nurse comes in with a couple of pain pills. He tells her he doesn't need them, at least not yet. She raises her eyebrows. Really? Will you be able to sleep? I think so. Leave them on the night table in case I want them later. She does that, checks his bandages for seepage, finds none, and wishes him a good night. Danny wishes her the same. His stomach hurts, but the pain is down to a dull throb, unless he makes a sudden move. He grabs the TV controller, switches around through a few channels, then turns it off. He thinks about Edgar Ball saying he could probably have his old job back if he wants it. The idea actually hurts. There are people in Manitou who are always going to believe he's guilty of something. Gossip is like radioactive waste. It has a long and toxic half-life. Stevie sent him an email with attachments to several rentals in Netherland and Longmont. They would have been far out of his reach a week ago, but if Edgar's right about how he, Danny, might get a little payday... He's still thinking about that when he drifts into the first good sleep he's had since the night before he dreamed that inexplicable dream. That lasts until 1:20 a.m., when the second dream begins. "63. Unless he's working a case, and thanks to Ella Davis, all of that is done. Albert goes to bed every night at 9:30. That's supposed to be the healthiest time, according to what he's read on the internet. But tonight, he's not able to get down. Just tonight, if only. He hasn't managed more than a few light dozes since finding out a wandering plumber named Andrew Iverson has been arrested for the murder of Yvonne Wicker and 2 others. Who is the bad guy in all of this? Frank Halbert. And who is the loser in all of this? Frank Halbert. 20 good years and half a dozen commendations all flushed down the commode. Everything he dedicated his life to is gone. His name is mud. While Danny is having a good sleep in Great Bend, Halbert is wide awake in Lawrence. His mind has turned on itself, gnawing and biting like a mangy dog, snapping at its own flanks until the blood flows. After 90 minutes or so of tossing and turning, he throws back the covers and gets up. He has to walk, and he has to count. If he doesn't, he'll go crazy. He thought of sticking his gun in his mouth, and it's attractive, but if he does that, will he not be giving Coughlin the ultimate victory? And Ella's saying, "We hounded an innocent man for nothing because we couldn't believe." That was nonsense, not to mention Monday morning quarterbacking. Were they supposed to throw out years of fact-based police work because a high school janitor said he'd had a dream? When COVID was burning across America, they said to follow the science. When you were a policeman, you followed the logic. Did that not make sense, or had the world gone crazy? Ella believed he killed her. He says as he leaves the house on his hot summer night. She believed it as much as I did. He walks on West 6th Street in his bedroom slippers, past the Walgreens and the Hy-Vee, past Dillon's and Starbucks and the Big Biscuit, now close to dark. He walks past the 6 Mile Chop House and the Alvadora Apartments, where he once arrested a murderer who is now doing his just time in El Dorado. He walks all the way to the Highway 40 interchange. He counts his steps. He's up to 154, a total of 11,935 when added sequentially. Then a sudden burst of insight, of logic, lights up his mind. Did the girl in Wyoming escape Andrew Iverson? Andrew Iverson in his little plumbing and heating van? Yes, Halbert accepts that. Did Andrew Iverson kill 2 other girls, one in Illinois and the other in Missouri? He accepts that too. Did Andrew Iverson have 2 of the charms from poor Miss Yvonne's bracelet in his kill sack? All right, say he did, and say Danny Coughlin put them there. It makes perfect sense once you throw out the New Age bullshit. Ella may believe that crap now, but Halbert never did and never will. Follow the science, follow the logic. Coughlin and Iverson knew each other. He's sure of it. It stands to reason. Halbert is also sure that the good police work necessary to uncover that connection will never be done. Why would any KBI investigator even try, when everything is tied up in a neat bow? When Danny Coughlin will probably come out of this looking like a hero who just tried to do his civic duty. A psychic hero. The only question in Halbert's mind as he stands looking at late-night cars passing on Highway 40 is whether Iverson held poor Miss Yvonne down while Coughlin raped her, or if Coughlin held her down while Iverson did his dirt. Would they be the first kill team? No, of course not. There have been others. Ian Brady and Myra Henley, Kenneth Bianchi and Angelo Bueno, Dick Hickok and Perry Smith, those 2 right here in Kansas. A car goes by on 6th, and a young voice sings out, "Hey, Pop, you're in your pajamas!" There's diminishing laughter. Halbert doesn't notice. He's putting the pieces together just as he did, and put the pieces of his classic movie posters puzzle together, and they all fit. Iverson called Coughlin from wherever he picked up poor Miss Yvonne, somewhere near the Gas and Go down south, and asked if he, Coughlin, wanted to have a little fun. And when they were done, Coughlin stripped a couple of charms from poor Miss Yvonne's charm bracelet and told him, "Here, you take these," Halbert mutters. "Something to look at when you whack off. No bullshit about dreams, just cold logic." Coughlin thought, "I'll not only get the fun of raping her and killing her, I'll get the glory of being the one to find her." It makes perfect sense, divine sense, because Coughlin always knew they'd traced the source of that ridiculous anonymous call, didn't he? How could he not? It occurs to Halbert, he's walking home now, counting forgotten, that he might be able to investigate on his own, do some digging, find out where the lives of Coughlin and Iverson intersected. At school, maybe. After that, emails and texts. Iverson killed others. It seems likely that Coughlin has as well. Likely? Try certain. But be real. He hasn't the resources to mount that kind of an investigation, and if he did, he'd draw attention to himself, and they, KBI, the newspapers, would shut him down. They have their story complete with gosh wow dream information. No one would believe this. "Take your pension and shut up," they'd say. "You're lucky we let you have one after what you did." Which left what? Where was justice for poor Miss Yvonne? Who would be her advocate? That, too, seems perfectly clear to Halbert. He will have to take care of Danny Coughlin himself this very night. Tomorrow morning, the hospital where Coughlin is currently recuperating will fill with people, but in the small hours ahead it will be at its lowest ebb. Coughlin isn't being guarded. Why would he be? When the blind idiots at KBI think poor Miss Yvonne's killer is handcuffed to his own hospital bed in Wyoming. Coughlin is the psychic hero. At home, Halbert dresses in jeans and his black suit coat, the one he always wore when he was on the job. He puts his badge on his belt, technically against the law now that he's retired, but it will help him get in if any late shift person asks questions. To this, he adds his service weapon. Oh no, that can't be good. All right, well, on that note, we are going to go to our second music break. And on this music break, we have Mr. Hosny Bronx with Strong Life and Free Child, and King Cinnamon with Rosie. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break.
Done.
Babylon make you suffer. Babylon make you suffer. What is desire? Young life. We are ready to fight.
Oh yeah, it's Funky on the beats.
Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. Cinnamon, cinnamon, do it softly. I said you wine your body, eat the sweetie, sweetie. Make it rock my body, I am feeling honey. Make it touch my body, I am feeling sweetie. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you talk me, you got me confused. All my men, they wear out. All my guys, they wear out. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. All my men, they wear out. All my guys, they wear out. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Mukomukeji, go bere muketa. Oya mukomukeji, oya bere muketa. Daddy mu ekon, omo ni pe mukeji. Daddy bere muketa, omo ni fún mi lẹ́yìn. Daddy fisi, omo ni ẹjọ́. Daddy saucy, omo ni ẹjọ́. Daddy kosi, omo ni ẹjọ́. Daddy turn pussy, omo ni ẹjọ́. Daddy and his baby, them dey for corner. Daddy begin the touch and the girl dey holla. Now daddy begin the open the shirt collar. Now something come out, daddy begin the suck am. Daddy mu ekon, omo ni pe mukeji. Daddy bere muketa, omo ni fún mi lẹ́yìn. Daddy fisi, omo ni ẹjọ́. Daddy saucy, omo ni ẹjọ́. All my men they gbero. All my guys they gbero. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. All my men they gbero. All my guys they gbero. Imarama. Anytime you touch me, you got me confused. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you touch me, you got me confused. Cinnamon, cinnamon, do it softly. As you dey wine your body, eat the sweetie, sweetie. Make it rock my body, I am feeling horny. Make it touch my body, I am feeling sweetie. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you touch me, you got me confused. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you touch me, you got me confused.
Kissy, kissy, amani. Ejo, daddy saucy, saucy, amani. Ejo, daddy gossy, gossy, amani. Ejo, daddy kahe pussy, amani. Ejo,
Daddy count that, harmony, ejo, daddy comfort. Daddy consist, harmony, ejo, daddy can't eat. Daddy 120, harmony, ejo, daddy 18. Daddy 240, harmony, ejo, daddy 360.
daddy and the baby, them dey for corner. Daddy begin the touch and the girl dey holla. Daddy begin the open the shirt collar. I come to come, daddy begin the sucker.
Daddy move, echo, harmony, pẹ̀lú kejì. Daddy bẹ̀rẹ̀ mú kẹta, harmony fún mi lẹ́yìn. Daddy fisi, fisi, harmony, ejo, daddy saucy, saucy, harmony, ejo, ejo.
All my men they dey quero. All my guys they dey quero. Imarama, imaramaro. Imarama, imaramaro.
Oh yeah, it's funky on the beat.
Welcome or welcome back to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight as I read this book by Mr. Stephen King, You Like It Darker Stories. And man, I think we're getting towards the end of this story, but I don't know. Every time I think it's over, there's something else happening, so. Yep, I believe we're at 64. At 1:45 in the morning, Charles Beeson, an orderly in the 3rd floor of Regional Hospital, is playing Fruit Ninja on his phone. Chuck? Chuck! He turns and is startled to see Danny Coughlin limping toward him. Johnny flaps around his knees. He's barefoot. One hand is pressed against his abdomen. Tears are running down his cheeks. They are tears of pain, but they are also tears of horror. Mr. Coughlin, you're not supposed to get out of bed until doctor gives you permission. My phone, Danny says. He's hoarse and panting. It's in the drawer, but the battery's dead. Please, I have to charge it up. I have to make a call. The pain wasn't bad when he fell asleep, but walking down the hall has awakened it. He grimaces and almost falls. Chuck gets an arm around him, but that's not good enough. He hoists Danny into his arms and carries him back to his room. Once he's in bed, Chuck holds out his own phone. Here, if it's important, use mine. Danny shakes his head. His hair is sticking to his forehead. Sweat runs down his cheeks. I need my contacts. I put her number in my contacts. Even 2% will be enough. I have to make that call. 65. While Danny's phone is on a charger in the nurse's station, Albert is on Route 56, heading for Great Bend. The interstate would be shorter, but he's less likely to run into highway patrol on 56, and he's running hot. According to his GPS, the trip from Lawrence should take about 3.5 hours if he kept the speed limit, but with the highway almost completely deserted, at this small hour, he's doing 85. It was almost 12:30 in the morning before he got rolling. He expects to be there by 3 a.m. at the latest. 150 minutes, which is 1 to 17 when added sequentially. With 3 left over, of course, but who's counting? It's vital that he should give Coughlin the justice he will otherwise escape. Nothing must stand in his way. It will be his ultimate sacrifice to save all the girls and women Coughlin might otherwise encounter. The burner he used to call Anderson is in the center console of his car. He pre-programmed the number for the Great Bend Police Department before he left home for what will be the last time. He makes the call at 2:15 a.m., never taking his eyes off the cone of his headlights. He doesn't have the voice-altering device he used with Anderson, so when the night dispatch answers, Great Bend Police, how may I help you? Halbert just makes his voice a little higher. He hopes he sounds like an adolescent, but it doesn't really matter. They will respond. On calls like this, they must respond. There's gonna be an explosion at the high school. Big one. It's going to happen around the time the kids start arriving, and then it just pops out. 3. Sir, where are you calling from? 3 bombs, he says, improvising on the fly. 3. They want to take out the whole school. Sir? Albert ends the call. He throws the phone out the driver's side window without slowing down. They may find the phone, and if they do, they'll find his prints when they dust it, but it doesn't matter. He won't be coming back for this, and that will be a relief. 66. When Chuck, the orderly, brings Danny his phone, it's 5% charged. That should be enough. Listen to me, Chuck. I want you to get the night nurses, Karen and the other one, the blonde, I can't remember her name, and go down to the 2nd floor. What? Why? Just trust me. There isn't much time. Danny glances at the clock at his nightstand, 2:10 a.m. Chuck is still standing in the door, frowning at him. Go, it's life and death, not kidding. You're not having a pain med reaction, are you? Belief? Danny thinks. It's all about belief, isn't it? No. Second floor, all of you. This will be over one way or another in an hour. Until then, get out. Get safe. He goes to his contacts. For a moment, he's terrified that Davis isn't in them. That he only thought he added her number from the card she gave him, but it's there, and he makes the call praying her phone isn't shut off. It rings 4 times, then 5. Just as he's despairing, she answers. Sleepy, she sounds more human than ever. Hello? Who? Danny Coughlin, he says. Wake up, Inspector Davis. Listen to me. I had another dream. This time it was premonitory, so do you understand? A moment's silence. When she replies, she sounds more awakened. Do you mean he's coming for me? Unless something changes it. There's going to be a shooting down the hall, I think, at the nurse's station. Screaming. Then he's here, dressed like he was when he first came to school. Black coat, blue jeans. Only that time he wasn't armed. This time he is. I'll call the police, she says, but if this is some kind of weird joke, do I sound like I'm joking? He almost screams it. The police won't come. He sent them off on some kind of wild goose chase. Don't ask me how I know that. It wasn't in the dream, but It's what he'd do, she says. If he really means to come after you, yes, it's what he'd do. She sounds fully awake now. I'll call you. And I'll call the cops in Dundee and Pawnee Rock, and then I'll come myself. I'm at my sister's, only 6 miles from Regional. The second dream is as clear in his memory as the dream of County Road F, the Texaco station, and the constant tinka-tinka-tinka of those price signs against the rusty pole. As real as the dog and the unearthed arm, there will be, shots at the nurse's station followed by a single scream. A man's scream, so probably Chuck the orderly. And then the man in the black coat and the dad jeans will be standing in his doorway. Looming in his doorway, that strange peninsular widow's peak surrounded by white skin. Those deep-set, tired eyes. For poor Miss Yvonne, he'll say as he raises the gun. And just as he fires, Danny turns his head on the pillow. He looks at the clock on his night table. I told the orderly to send everyone down to the second floor, but they're not going. I can hear them down there. They don't believe me, just like him, just like you. He looked at the clock in his dream. He looks at it now. Forget about Dundee and Pawnee Rock, Inspector. They're too far away. He's going to start shooting at 2:03. You've got 39 minutes to do something about it. '67. Ella's sister Regina is alone in the master bedroom. Her husband is away on one of his many business trips. Davis has her suspicions about those trips, and she supposes Regina does too, but that is a matter for another time. The digital clock beside Regina's bed reads 2:24. Reggie, wake up! Regina stirs and opens her eyes. Davis is wearing jeans, sneakers without socks, and a KU t-shirt, clearly without a bra. But it's the sight of the gun on her hip and the ID laminate her sister is slipping over her head that wakes her all the way up. What? I have to go right now. I'll be back before Lori wakes up. She hopes so, at least. There's a problem. What problem? I can't explain, Reg. I hope it's nothing. She doesn't believe that. Not anymore. She believes Coughlin about everything. She can only hope it's not too late. I'll call when it's taken care of. Reggie is still asking questions when her sister leaves. Ella runs down the stairs 2 at a time and snatches her keys from the basket by the door. Her personal car is parked in the driveway, and goddamn, Regina parked hers directly behind it. Davis pulls forward until the collision monitor hollers and her bumper thumps the porch. She cranks the wheel and backs around Reggie's Subaru, hitting the Subaru's bumper hard enough to rock it on its springs. She misses the mailbox by inches when she reverses into the street. She looks at the dashboard clock. It's 2:28. The streets are deserted and she ignores the stop sign, only slowing to look for headlights coming in either direction. She takes 7th, which proves to be a mistake. There's construction, a line of smudge pots in front of a hole in the road probably meant for a culvert. The pots glow smoky orange in the night. She wheels into someone's driveway, turns back, and takes 8, aiding the delay. She works her phone out of her pocket, and when she comes to a blinker flashing red at the McKinley Street intersection, she tells Siri to call the Great Bend PD. Davis identifies herself and tells dispatch there's a possible shooter approaching Regional Hospital. Send any and all available officers. Dispatch tells her she has no one to send. Someone has phoned in a bomb threat at the high school. 3 bombs, in fact, and the few officers working the night shift have gone there to close off the streets leading to the building. The bomb squad is on its way from Wichita. There's no bomb, Davis says. This guy wants to draw your cops off until he finishes what he's coming to do. Man? Inspector? You know this how? The clock on her dashboard reads 2:39, and it occurs to Ella that lack of belief is the curse of intelligence. She throws her phone on the passenger seat without ending the call and turns on to McKinley. She floors it and stamps both feet on the brakes as a late-night shambler pushes a shopping cart into the street. She lays both hands on the horn. The shambler gives her lazy middle finger, tick-tocking it from side to side as she continues on his way. Davis veers around him and tromps the gas, laying 50 feet of rubber. Here at last is Cleveland Street and the bulk of the hospital. The red emergency sign over the portico is her beacon. It's 2:46. Beat him, Davis thinks. If Danny was right about the time, I beat. A red SUV looms up in her rear view. It swings beside her, almost sideswipes her, then bolts ahead. Davis gets just a glimpse of the driver, but a glimpse is enough. That thick widow's peak is all the ID she needs. Taillights flash as the SUV pulls up in front of the main entrance. Halbert gets out, black coat, baggy dad jeans. In spite of her terror and the sense that she's having her own dream, it's hardly been an hour since she was called from a sound sleep by her phone, after all. There's a feeling of almost miraculous wonder, because Danny was right about everything, and now she knows how he must have felt at that Texaco station, seeing his dream made real. She doesn't slow, simply rear-ends Halbert's vehicle. He wheels around, eyes wide, going for his gun. Ella lays on the horn with her right hand. "Wake up, you people, wake up," and opens the door with her left. She draws her own gun as she gets out, hoping 2 things. That she won't have to shoot her ex-partner, and that her ex-partner won't shoot her. She has a little girl to go back to. "Frank, stop. Do not go in. Ella, what are you doing here?" He looks so haggard, she thinks, so lost, and so dangerous. "Put your gun away, Frank." People are coming out now, nurses in pink and blue rayon, a couple of orderlies in white, a doctor in green scrubs, a couple of patients from 24-hour care, one with his arm in a sling. "He's lying, Ella. Of course he is. Are you blind?" They're pointing Glocks at each other like a pair of gunfighters at the end of the Western movie. The .40 Smith & Wesson ammo those guns fire will be lethal at this short range. If the shooting starts, one or both of them will almost certainly be killed. "No, Frank. They caught the door in Wyoming. His name is Andrew Iverson, yes." Robert is nodding. "I believe that, but they were in it together. Can't you see that? Follow the logic, Ella. They were a kill team. Use your brain. How can you believe his story? You're too smart. 16 times too smart. 18 times too smart." More people have come out. They cluster on the steps. Davis wants to tell them to go back in, but she doesn't dare take her eyes off Halbert. Now she can hear a siren. It's approaching, but it's too far. Too far. Frank, why do you think I'm here? How do you think I got here? For the first time, he looks unsure. I don't know. Danny called me. He knew you were coming. He dreamed it. That's ridiculous. A lie. A fable for children. But here I am. How else can you explain it? A nurse, a large woman in a blue smock, has come out of urgent care and is now sneaking up on Halbert from behind. Ella wants to tell her that's a bad idea, the worst idea, but doesn't dare. Halbert will think she's trying to distract him and he'll shoot. I can't, Halbert says. You shouldn't be here. I don't think you are here. You're a hallucin. The big woman throws her arms around Halbert, pinning his arms. She must outweigh him by 60 pounds, but his reaction is immediate. He stamps down on one of her feet. She screams, her grip loosens. He frees one arm and drives an elbow backward into her throat. The nurse stumbles away gagging. He turns toward her and away from Davis. Frank, put it down. Drop it. Drop it. Drop it. He doesn't seem to hear her. The nurse is bent over, hands to her throat. Albert raises the gun. He does it very slowly. Ella has time to think about all the miles they've driven on Kansas Road and all the meals they've eaten in Kansas diners. Prepping each other before testifying, sitting through endless briefings. There's time to shoot him, but she can't. She can only watch as Halbert continues to raise the gun. But he's not pointing it at the nurse. He puts it to his own head. Frank, don't. Please don't. I did it all for poor Miss Yvonne. And he says, 3, 2, 1, and pulls the trigger. It's almost an hour later when Ella is finally allowed into Danny Coughlin's room. The cops are standing guard outside his door. She thinks this is a perfect example of locking the barn after the horse has been stolen. Chuck the orderly is there, and a doctor. Ella thinks it's the one she saw on the steps during the final confrontation, but she might be wrong. They all look the same in their green scrubs. In his hospital, Danny, looks like he's lost 40 pounds. He's as haggard as Halbert was at the end, but there's a clarity in his face that's different. Ella doesn't hesitate. She goes to him and hugs him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about everything. That's all right, Danny tells her. He strokes her hair. That seems like the wrong thing to do. It also seems right. He pulls back from him. Ma'am, the doctors say, this man has had enough excitement for one night. He needs his rest. I know I'll go, but Danny, why did you have that dream? Why? Do you have any idea at all? He laughs. It's a sorry laugh. Why does a man get hit by lightning twice? She shakes her head. I don't know. Neither do I. He points. I see you're wearing your cross. She touches it. I always wear it. Sure, but belief is hard, isn't it? He lies down on his pillow and puts his hands over his eyes, as if to blot out both worlds, the one seen and the one behind it, so rarely revealed, and says it again. Belief is hard. He drops his hands. They look at each other without speaking. There's nothing to say. Oh, we're to the next story. This story is Finn. Finn had a hard go of it from the very beginning. He slipped through the hands of a midwife who had delivered hundreds of babies and gave his birthday cry when he hit the floor. When he was 5, there was a house party next door. He was allowed out to listen to music, the Pogues blasting from pole-mounted portable speakers on his side of the street. It was summer. He was barefoot. and a cherry bomb thrown by an exuberant party-goer flew up, arced down with the stub of its fuse fizzing, and blew off the baby toe on his left foot. Wouldn't have happened again in 1,000 years, his grandma said. At 7, he and his sisters were playing in Gill Park, while Grandma sat on a nearby bench, alternately knitting and doing one of her word search puzzles. Finn didn't care for the swings, but had no use for the seesaws. Couldn't have cared less about the roundy round. What he liked was the twisty, an entrancing hurley-cue of blue plastic 20 feet high. There were steps, but Finn preferred to climb the slide itself on his hands and knees. Up and around, up and around. At the top he would sit and glide to the packed dirt at the bottom. He never had an accident on the twisty. "Stop that a while, why don't you?" Grandma said one day. "You're always on that old twisty. Try something new. Try the monkey bars. Show me a trick." His sisters, Colleen and Marie, were on them, climbing and swinging like monkeys. So to please Grandma, he went on the monkey bars and slipped while hanging upside down and fell and broke his arm. His teacher that year, pretty Miss Monahan, liked to end each day by saying, "What have we learned today, kiddos?" At the urgent care while having his arm set, the lollipop he was given afterward hardly seemed adequate compensation for the pain. Finn thought what he'd learned that day was stick to the twisty. At 14, running home from his friend Patrick's house in a driving thunderstorm, a stroke of lightning hit the street directly behind him, close enough to frizz his hair and char a line down the back of his jacket. Finn fell forward, hit his head on the curb, suffered a concussion, and lay unconscious in his bed for 2 days before waking up and asking what happened. It was Deidre Hunman from across the street, one of the party-goers on that long-ago Vogue day, although not the cherry bomb thrower, who saw him and fished the unconscious boy out of the gutter. "I thought poor old Finn was dead for sure," she said. His late father said Finn was born under a bad sign. Grandma, who never apologized for the monkey bars day, held a different view. She told Finn that for every stroke of bad luck God dealt out, he gave 2 strokes of the good. Finn thought that over and said he'd had no good luck to speak of unless it wasn't being hit dead center by the lightning bolt. "You should be glad your luck's out," Grandma said. "Maybe it will come in all at once and you'll win the lotto. Or a rich relative will die and leave you everything." "I don't have any rich relatives." "That you know of," Grandma said. She was the kind of woman who always got the last word. When things go wrong, just remind yourself, God owes me, and God always pays his debts. Not soon enough to suit Finn, however. Worse luck awaited. One evening in his 19th year, Finn came running home from his girlfriend's house, not because it was raining, but because, even with a case of blue balls, all that hugging and touching and smooching had left him exhilarated. He felt he had to run or explode. He was wearing a leather jacket, jeans, a cabin Tealy cap, and a vintage t-shirt with the logo of an old band, Nazareth, on the front. He rounded the corner onto Peak Street and ran into a young man running the other way. They both fell down. Finn picked himself up and started to apologize, but the young man was already legging it again, looking back over his shoulder. He was always wearing jeans, a bill cap, and a t-shirt which didn't strike Finn as particularly coincidental. In this city it was the uniform of the young men and women both. Finn carried on running down Peak, rubbing a scraped elbow as he went. A black tradesman's van came toward him. Lights off, Finn thought nothing of it until it pulled up beside him, and some men, at least 4, came rushing out of the back, even before the van had rolled completely to a stop. 2 of the men grabbed him by the arms. Finn managed, "Hey!" The third man said, "Hey yourself," and pulled a bag over his head. There was a sting in his upper arm just above his scraped elbow. He was aware of being hustled, feet not touching the pavement, and then the world flew away. When Finn came to, he was lying on a cot in a small room with a high ceiling. In one corner was a table lamp with no table beneath it. In another was a commode. Commode was blue plastic, exactly the same shade as the Twisty in Pettingill Park. There was no other furniture. There was a skylight, but it had been painted black in slopping, careless strokes. Finn sat up and winced. He didn't have a headache exactly, but his neck was terribly stiff, and his arm hurt the way it had after he'd gotten his COVID shot. He looked at it and saw someone had put a sticking plaster above his scraped elbow. He peeled it back and saw a tiny hole with a red corona around it. Finn tried the door and found it locked. He knocked, then pounded on it. As if in answer, AC/DC blasted at him. Dirty deeds done dirt cheap. At what sounded like 2,000 decibels. Finn clapped his hands over his ears. It went on for 20 or 30 seconds, then stopped. He looked up and saw 3 speakers mounted high up. To him, they looked like Bose models, which meant expensive. In the corner above the table lamp, without a table, the lens of a camera stared down at him. Unlike the time when he had almost been struck by lightning, Finn remembered what had happened before he temporarily lost the plot, and guessed what it meant. It was absurd but not amazing. Being kidnapped was just another example of Finn Murray's luck. He went back to pounding on the door and yelling for someone to come. When no one did, he stepped back and looked up at the camera. Is someone there? Like, monitoring this? If you are, please come and let me out. I believe you've dropped a ball at... You want the other fella. There was no response for almost a full minute. Finn was walking back to the cot, having decided to lie down until someone came to rectify what was obviously a mistake. When the speakers blared again, Finn liked the Ramones, but not at such an apocalyptic volume in a closed room. This time the sonic assault went on for about 2 minutes before cutting out just as abruptly. He lay on the cot and had just begun to drift when Cheap Trick roared down. 20 minutes later, it was Dexy's Midnight Runners. It went on that way for quite some time, probably hours. There was no way Finn could tell for sure his captors had taken his watch while he was unconscious. He was dozing when the door opened. 2 men came in. Finn wasn't sure they were the ones who had grabbed him by the arms, but pretty sure. One of them had a droopy eye, he said. "Are you going to be troublesome, Bobby-O?" "Not if you're not going to make this right," Finn said. He took little notice of being called Bobby-O. Thought it was just some kind of nickname like Daddy-O, or how his father had seen a drunk staggering up the street. He'd always say, "There goes Patty O'Reilly." "That's up to you," the other said. He had a narrow face and black eyes like a weasel. They went out the door, Finn between the 2 men, who were both wearing chinos and white shirts. Neither of them had a gun, which was a bit of a comfort, although Finn had no doubt they could handle him easily if he decided to make trouble for them. They looked fit. Finn was tall but weedy. The room they came out in was lined with shelves, all of them empty. To Finn it looked like a pantry, or maybe, given the size, what his grandma would have called a larder. As a young woman, she'd been in service. From the pantry, they entered the biggest kitchen Finn had ever seen. There were a couple of empty bowls on the counter with spoons in them. Judging by the scum inside, he guessed they had contained soup. His belly rumbled. He didn't know how long it had been since he'd eaten. Allie had made him some scrambled eggs before the necking started, but Finn had an idea that was long since digested. If digestion continued when you were unconscious, that was. He thought it must. A person's body just went about its business. Next came a dining room with a shining mahogany table that looked long enough to play shuffleboard on. Heavy plum-colored drapes had been pulled all the way closed. Finn strained his ears for the second of passing traffic and heard nothing. They went down a hall, and the droopy-eyed man opened a door on the right. The weasel gave Finn a light shove. There was a fancy desk in the room. The walls were lined with books and folders. More drapes, a deep dull red, had been drawn over the window behind the desk. A man with white hair combed back like early Cliff Richard sat behind the desk. His tanned face was scoured with lines. He looked not much older than Finn's father had been when he died. "Sit down." Finn sat down across from the white-haired man. Mr. Droopy-Eye stood in one corner. Mr. Weasel stood in the other corner. They clasped their hands in front of their belt buckles. There was a folder in front of the white-haired man, thinner than the ones crammed in helter-skelter on the shelves. He opened it, lifted a sheet of paper, looked at it, and sighed. "This can be easy or hard, Mr. Feeney. That's entirely up to you." Finn leaned forward. "See, that's not my name. You have the wrong person." The white-haired man looked interested. He put the sheet of paper back in the thin folder and closed it. "Not Bobby Feeney? Is that so?" "My name is Finn Murray. That's Murray with an I-E at the end, not A-Y." He felt that this detail alone should be enough to convince the white-haired man. It was so specific. "Is it now?" the white-haired man said. "Well, wonders never cease. I'll tell you what happened, what I think happened. When I came around the corner into Peak Street, I ran into a fella running the other way. We knocked each other down. He got up and ran on. I got up and ran on. These fellas," he pointed at the men in the corner, "must have wanted the other fella, Bobby Feeney. He was dressed the same as me." "Dressed the same, was he? Cabin Tilly cap? Nazareth t-shirt? Leather jacket?" "Well, I don't know what was on the shirt, but I remember the cap. It all happened fast, but it's sure that's who you wanted. This happens to me all the time." The white-haired man leaned forward. His hands, scarred, Finn saw, or maybe burned, clasped on his thin folder. He looked more interested than ever. "You were taken into custody all the time, are you?" "No, bad luck. Bad luck happens to me all the time." He told the white-haired man about being dropped at birth, and the cherry bomb, the broken arm because he let his grandma coax him off the twisty, the lightning strike. There were other things he could have added, but he thought the lightning strike and the resulting concussion made a good place to stop, like the climax of a storybook story. "So you see, I'm not the boyo you're looking for." "Huh." The white-haired man sat back, pressed a hand to his belly as if it pained him inside. Inspiration struck Finn. "Just think about it, sir. If I was running away from these fellas of yours, I'd run away. But I didn't, did I? I ran right into their outstretched arms, so to speak. It was the other fella, this Bobby Feeney, who ran away." "You're not Bobby Feeney." "No, sir." "You're Finn Donovan. Finn Murray with an I-E. This should have been settled now. That it apparently was not gave Finn a bad feeling. "Do you have any identification? Because if you had a wallet, it must be crammed up your arse. That's the only place we didn't look." Finn actually reached for his back pocket before remembering. I left it at my girlfriend's house. We were sitting on the couch, lying on it actually, Ellie on top, and it was digging into my butt, so I took it out and put it on this little table with our cans of lager. I must have forgotten it. Forgot it, said Mr. Weasel, grinning. Stands to reason, said Mr. Droopy Eye. He was grinning too. You see, we have a problem here already, the white-haired man said. Finn had another inspo. The unpleasant situation he was in, the unbelievable situation really, although he had no choice but to believe it, seemed to be bringing inspirations on thick and fast. I had my Odeon card in my pocket. I kept it separate in case Ellie wanted to go out to the Royale. He felt for the card. It wasn't there. The white-haired man opened his folder, rifled through the few papers inside, and brought out an orange card. This card? Yeah, that's it. See my name? He reached for it. The white-haired man leaned back. Mr. Weasel and Mr. Droopy Eye unclasped their hands, ready to pounce, should pouncing be called for. The white-haired man held the card close to his face as if he were nearsighted. Finn Murray, it says here, with an AY. Finn felt heat rising in his cheeks as if he had been caught in a lie. He hadn't been, but that was how it felt. People misspell names all the time. My father's name was Stephen, and people were always for spelling it with a V or even an F like Stefan. The white-haired man slipped the Odeon card back into his folder. Did you enjoy the music we had piped into your room? I know why you do that. I've seen it on telly. It's a tactic like to keep people on edge. Ah, is that why we do it? Hondo, do you know that's why we do it? Hard to say, Mr. Weasel replied with a shrug. I've heard it said that music soothes savage beasts, although I'm not sure that speaks to your question. We can arrange for some Nazareth if you like, said the white-haired man. You being a fan and all, and with what sounded grotesquely like pride. We have Spotify. I want to go home. Finn didn't like the tremble he heard in his voice, but couldn't help it. You made a mistake, and I want to go home. I won't say nothing. He was sorry as soon as it came out. Kidnapped victims were always saying it, and it never worked. He'd seen that on telly, too. Going home might also be arranged and very easily, but first you must answer one question. What did you do with the briefcase, Bobby? The one with the papers in it. For you surely didn't have it when you were brought here. Finn felt tears sting at the corner of his eyes. Sir? Call me Mr. Ludlam, if you like. I used to call myself Mr. Dayton, but I got tired of it. Mr. Ludlam, I'm not Bobby Feeney, and I didn't have any briefcase. I never did. I'm not who you're looking for, and while you're gassing at me, the fellow you are looking for is getting away. So your name is Bobby Murray, with an I-E. Yes, no, I'm Finn Murray, Finn. Doc? The white-haired man, Mr. Ludlam, nodded to the one with the droopy eye. Help this fine young man to remember his name. Doc stepped forward. Hondo, a.k.a. Mr. Weasel, grabbed Finn by the shoulders. Doc removed a heavy ring, put it in the pocket of his chinos, and slapped Finn across the face, good and hard. Then he went the other way even harder. Spit flew from the side of Finn's mouth. It hurt plenty, but what he felt most in that moment was astonishment and shame. He had nothing to be ashamed of, but ashamed he was. Now, Mr. Ludlam said, leaning back and clasping his hands in his midsection, what is your name? Finn. Mr. Ludlam nodded to Doc, who administered 2 more brisk slaps. Finn's ears rang, his cheeks burned, the tears came. You can't do that. Why would you do that? You made a mistake. I can do it. Mr. Ludlam opened his folder and tossed a pamphlet across the desk. Open-handed slaps are a world-proven technique for advanced interrogation. I think you should read that carefully before we talk again. See what other techniques we might decide to employ. Take 'em back, you two. Mr. Bobby Donovan has some homework to do. You don't even know who you're... He was jerked at his feet. Hondo on one side and Doc on the other. Hondo picked up the pamphlet and stuffed it into the waistband of Finn's jeans. Come along, Bobby-o, he said. Ta-ta, Mr. Lytham said. Be a friend to all, and all will be a friend to you. With that, Finn was hustled from the study with his cheeks burning and tears streaming from his eyes. Back in his room, his cell, Finn pulled the pamphlet free of his jeans and looked at it. There was no binding, not even a staple. There was just a few sheets of paper folded together. On the front, smearily printed and slightly askew, was this world-approved techniques for advanced interrogation. Are you shitting me? Finn asked. He spoke in a whisper, so the mics, surely there were mics as well as a camera staring down, wouldn't pick it up. His first thought was that the pamphlet was a joke. But the slaps hadn't been a joke. His face still burned. The first page of the pamphlet, open-handed slaps, okay. The second page, sleep deprivation techniques, loud music, sound effects, etc., okay. Third page, threats to family members, fucking buddies, etc., okay. Fourth, enemas, okay. Fifth, stress positions, okay. Sixth, waterboarding, okay. Seventh, fist hitting, foot paddling, burning with cigarettes or lighters, rape and sexual abuse, not okay. Eighth, if not specifically mentioned, probably okay. The rest of the pages were blank. They can't even fucking spell, Finn whispered. But if it wasn't a mistake or someone's macabre idea of a joke, it could mean he was in the hands of psychopaths. The idea was more terrifying than believing it was a case of mistaken identity. That could be resolved. One of his grandma's aphorisms, he had many, came to mind. Most people will be reasonable if you speak soft and give them a chance. Because he had no better idea, he dropped the pamphlet on the floor, got up and faced the camera. He spoke soft. My name is Finn Murray. I live at 19 Rowan Tree Road with my grandma and my two sisters, Pauline and Marie. My mother is away on business, but she can be reached on her mobile at, Finn reeled off the number. All of them will tell you I am who I say I am. Then what? Inspiration came, or logic, maybe both. Then you can put a bag over my head, even knock me out again if you feel like you need to, and drop me off on some random street corner. You can do that because I don't know who you are, and I don't know where this is. I don't have no briefcase, and I don't have no papers. Just, be reasonable, please. He lost track of how many times he'd said please, quite a few for sure. Finn went back to the cot and lay down. He began to drift. Just as he was slipping away, Anthrax came ripping out of the speakers. Madhouse. He almost fell off the cot. He covered his ears. After 2 minutes that seemed much longer, the music stopped. He no longer felt sleepy, but he felt plenty hungry. Would they feed him? Maybe not. Starving a prisoner wasn't specifically mentioned, so it was probably okay. He slept. They gave him 4 hours. Then they came for him. Man, I don't want to start this next chapter or section because we only have about 4 minutes left in the show. But yeah, I've really been digging it so far. What do you guys think? I love Stephen King. I think he's cool. I know there's a lot of politics and stuff going on out there, and I had someone comment that they didn't even like Stephen King because of political shit. I don't even remember what she said. He's a brilliant writer, and I really enjoy his stories, and what do you call it? His imagination. So many good stories out there. How do you get there? How do you go to a place where you can tell stories like that? It's pretty amazing. It's interesting and intriguing, as I used to say. Yeah. Are you guys digging it? Can you leave me a comment below? What you liked about this podcast, what you didn't like, what I could do better. I'm really open to suggestion. And if there's a book you'd like me to read or a guest you'd like me to have on, just let me know, and I will try my best to get them in here. That would be awesome. I haven't had a guest in some time except for Psychic Saturdays, but yeah. We are paradoxmedia@gmail.com. If you would like to send me any of those, or, send me your paranormal experiences or ghost stories, that'd be awesome. But I just want to thank you so much once again for hanging out with me tonight. It was my pleasure hanging out and entertaining you. Thank you to all my friends out there, wherever you may be listening beyond the Omniverse tonight. I had a wonderful time, and I can't wait to do it again tomorrow night. We'll be doing trippy TikToks with me, TessaTNT. Don't forget, we're all in this together. Together we can make the world a little better. And together we are Paradox Media, because without you, there is no us. If you have the means, ability, or initiative, if you believe in what I'm doing, or just enjoy hanging out with me and want to help me keep this party going, sling or fling some green my way, it would really help me out and keep this mothership afloat. Places you can donate are P.O. Box 663, Bayfield, Colorado 81122. You can also send mail and stories there as well. On Cash App at $TessaTNT, PayPal at TessaTNT, and Venmo at Tessa-Thomas-Peterson. Night night, love and light, take care of my yous, and I will see yous around here tomorrow.